talking about people in a particular state. Can you hear me now? Let me see. Okay, cool. All right. So you when you talk about the crime, when you talk about the crime, um, uh, in blue states versus red states, you have to talk about the population because most blue states are big cities. Most blue states um, uh, have uh, what do I want to say? Most blue states are populated by, we have more people there, just like Chicago. People say, oh, look at all the crime coming out of Chicago. But actually, Chicago, most of the crime that's coming out of Chicago is only from two neighborhoods, mainly two neighborhoods. But they want to make it seem like Chicago is the crime capital of the world, of the country, when it's not. A lot of the crime comes out of these small little red states. You know, um, I know what Sacktown is. I'm in Southern Cali. I'm in Southern Cali. And again, I just don't understand how people in red states, where out of the poorest states in this country, 8 of them are red states. 8 of them are red states. But yet you continue to vote against, you continue to vote against your own interest. Things like Meals on Wheels, the majority of people who had that and still use it are in red states. The majority of people on welfare, they're not black, they're white. And most of them are in red states. People talk about, yeah, people of color, black people, you all, in Chicago, you all living in this public housing. Let me tell you something about Chicago. I grew up there, left there when I was in my 30s. Let me tell you something about Chicago and public housing. Cabrini Green, which is no longer standing in Chicago, which has been torn down for about 20 years, sat on prime real estate. Prime real estate. High rises. You could see it from the freeway. Robert Taylor homes on the south side. High rises all along the lakefront. Those places are gone. Torn down. What is in their place? Multi-million-dollar condos. Black folks aren't living there. Latinos aren't living there. Guess who's living there? So when you talk about public housing, know what you're talking about, because a lot of people talk out of their ass and they don't know what they're talking about. I don't understand. Um, I don't understand how people vote against their own interests. I don't understand how people um, could vote for a man who is so disgusting, who is so, he lies just like I drink water, and I drink a lot of water. I don't understand it. How you vote for this person. And don't get me wrong, all politicians lie. They do, because they want to get elected. Politicians lie. Politicians can come out and have the best intentions, which I believe a lot of them do. They want to come out and, they want to come out and, yes, I'm going to do this and I promise this and, and I'm going to get this done. But they get greedy and they start listening to people who are in their ear, their advisors. But Trump isn't a politician. He's an opportunist. All these legal problems that um, that all these legal problems that Trump has. If he had not come down the elevator and that escalator in 2015 in Trump Tower, had not announced his run for presidency, no one would have known all the stuff that he was doing. No one would have known all the stuff that his family was doing, his children were doing, his son-in-law was doing. He could have kept all his secrets, all his dirty little secrets, all his crimes covered up. Trump run for president to stick it to Obama. If this black man can be president, this black man who Trump says was not born in the United States, if he could be president, I can too. I mean, he even said that he could stand out in the middle of Times Square and people would still vote for him. I'm running as a Republican because Republicans are stupid. This is what the man said on tape, y'all. I'm not making this up. You can't make up stuff that Trump says, because what Trump says is usually so stupid, because everything that comes out of his mouth. These are the people that you vote for. This is the person that you wanted in office. This is the leader of the clan that you wanted. How's that working out for you? Those federal workers who were fired, and yeah, some of them are coming back to the job because they realize, oh shit, we need this person to take care of this. We need this department to take care of that. See, they didn't think that through. You don't see Elon at Trump's standing by Trump's desk anymore because they had a falling out. People, there's a reason for everything. There's a reason for everything. You have laws now and ordinances where they don't even want you in some places. And a lot of these places are in the South where they don't want you growing your own food. They don't want you, they don't want you to have community gardens. They want you to go to the store and buy your food. All these subsidies that Biden had approved for farmers for 2025, those same farmers that voted for Trump, and those subsidies are now cut, and they're stuck with debt, with having to pay for equipment that they can't afford now. Their workers are not coming to work because a lot of them hired illegals to work for them. They're either afraid to come to work, or if they come to work, they're getting picked up by ICE. So you don't have the workers to work for you, to work for them. So now they're whining and they're complaining. I don't feel sorry for you. But you know who's going to swoop in and buy your farms for less than what they're worth? People like Bezos. People like Bill Gates. Bill Gates has been quietly buying up farmland for years. For years, he's been quietly buying farmland. I'm not making this up. So then what we're going to have is we're going to have these billionaires, these oligarchs who are going to own all this farmland. And it's going to be just like what white people did to black people. At the turn of the century, where they became sharecroppers. And they couldn't break away because the owners took the majority of their crop. And if they wanted to shop, they had to go buy the ridiculous. So they had credit, but they could never pay it off because they never got paid enough to put a dent in what they owed. But they had to keep going back to those places because they had to feed their families, their shoes, if they had shoes at all. Had the same pair of pants for an entire year. And when those got too small, they got passed down to the next kid. So if you were the youngest, you never got anything new. But if you were the oldest, you may have gotten something new, but it was a hand-me-down from something else. Is this what we're going to end up doing? Are we going to end up working for people who what do I want to say? Who are buying up all this land? Are we going to be dependent on them for our food? Where is this country going to be in 10 years? Where are we going to be in 5 years? Where are we going to be tomorrow? Where are we going to be? People, I'm a planner. I get that from my parents, mainly my mom. I don't wait until the last minute to do anything. If I am planning a trip, I usually have my tickets 4 months in advance. My hotel room is booked in advance. Why? Number one, you get the best rates. And number two, I don't want to scramble. And there's certain places on a plane where I like to sit. I usually end up sitting in the same row on the same side of the plane. That's what that's just me. Okay. I'm one of those people that shop at Costco. When I buy things, I buy it in bulk. especially if I know I'm going to use it. It's cheaper. I never understood how people, even though you can't really do this anymore, you could do back in the day. But I can never understand how people just go and buy, you know, one roll of paper towels or one roll of toilet paper, knowing that you're going to need more toilet paper. Now I understand that some people don't have the money. I understand that. But I'm not one of those people who's going to keep running out to the store every time I want something. I do prep food. If I make too much, I freeze it, pull it out the freezer. Boom, there's my meal. But people, we have to plan ahead. We have to plan ahead. We have to plan for what's coming. And we have to plan. We have to plan. For the midterm elections that are coming up in 26. And we have to plan for the election of 28. And we cannot allow anyone to rewrite history, which is what they are doing. We cannot allow people to erase who we are, what we are, who we were. We have to stand up for ourselves. We have to be ready and vote in what is in our best interests. We cannot vote our color. We cannot vote for someone because they're white, they're black. We cannot. We can't vote according to gender. We had a lot of people in 2016 who did not vote for Hillary Clinton because she was a woman. You had a lot of white women who didn't vote for Hillary Clinton because they were still pissed off the fact that she didn't leave Bill Clinton after the whole Monica Lewinsky thing. And to that I say, that was between a husband and wife. That had nothing to do with you. What goes on in somebody else's bedroom is not your business. But you still have a lot of white women who are pissed off at Hillary. These are just things that my own opinion. This is just what I think. You know, and what can I say? So y'all, my hour is almost up. So let me we're gonna do this real quick. Okay, my timeline, Solid's timeline. So y'all, if I could go back in time, this is the question that I ask all the time. If you now in 2025, your 2025 self could go back in time, where would you go? Um, what would you tell people wherever time you go back to? Um, what would you tell people? How far back would you go? For me, I go back to the time when buffalo were running free and abundant in this country. I would go back in time to tell Native Americans that you have to find some way to stop the palm people from coming and killing millions of buffalo or bison. Um, it's amazing to me how humans and a particular group of people can destroy and kill another living creature and pretty much make it extinct. Native Americans use buffalo. They did kill them. Well, when they killed a buffalo, they used every part of the buffalo. Um, Buffalo provided meat. Uh, Native Americans ate the organs. They made jerky out of it. Their hides were used for shelter, for lodges and teepees. The hides were also used for clothing. Tools were made from buffalo. Bones, horns, hooves were made for weapons where they can hunt even more. And, just household items, bowls, eating utensils. The bladder of a buffalo was used for containers, and their tendons were used for bowls, for bowstrings and thread. Then you have these white hunters that come along. Yes, I am saying white because the majority of you were white who killed buffalo, left their carcasses rotting in the sun, when all you wanted was their hide. Millions of buffalo were killed. Millions. Out of greed. The same for elephants. You kill them for their ivory. You just leave the rest of them just rotting in the sun. But for buffalo, I would go back in time and I would tell Native Americans there has to be some way you have to stop these people. And see, when buffalo were being killed at a rampant rate, you have Native Americans who had to keep moving because their source of food was gone. But think of all the other things that are extinct, that are killed out of greed. That's what I would do. I would go back in time I would go back in time and I would let people know, the Native Americans know, the white man's coming, y'all, and they're about to kill all these buffalo. And here we are today in 2025. I'm pretty sure a lot of people don't think about buffalo. I'm pretty sure a lot of people don't think about a lot of things. That are not essential to them. And one reason why I do my timelines is because our past and what we've done in the past has dictated our future. And this is where we are now. This is where we are now. Is this the future you want? Is your yesterday going to look like your tomorrow? So on that note, y'all, enjoy the rest of your day. I do have to put out a blurb to Smooth California, y'all. Y'all check out Smooth California, how skin should be at smoothca.online. Black-owned, black skincare company based on an 80-year recipe. Smooth California, how skin should be. smoothca.online, and they are running a holiday promotion. So now I'll say, until next time, I will see you next Tuesday. But I will be back on Saturday for Friendly Differences podcast, 12 noon Pacific time, 2 p.m. Central, and 3 p.m. Eastern, where we will have our guest host. And Friendly Differences, we don't always agree with each other, but we do have fun. We do have fun. So anyway, until next time, y'all, keep it solid. Peace.